Today on Hey, We're Talking, we're going to talk about wine.
I'm a wino now. Or am I?
I'm a wino. You're a wino. Wouldn't you like to be a wino too?
My wine.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hey, We're Talking. And, Derek and I started talking, and we were like, first of all, Bob's not here, as you can see. Right, Derek?
Yeah. It's not that this is one of those infamous filler episodes.
Yeah. Well,
mandates.
We can't call it mandates. Everybody was like, no, you can't do that. So I just think this is just a show. I don't even think you have to call it anything. It's just, Hey, We're Talking without Bob. Sans Bob. So anyway, we were chatting a little bit because we've got some extra time, and sometimes we want to try and get ahead. I can see my wife right out the window. She's like, we opened the windows because it's been like 10 degrees here for a week, and it's like 68 today. So I was like, crap, I'm opening the window. So the dogs are rolling around out there. My wife's walking by. She's on the phone for work. So she's just chatting. So if you hear her in the background, that's what that is. Anyway, the show. We had some extra time before Bob joins us. If you didn't know, we do multiple shows in a day.
Yeah.
We do. We used to try and hide that, even though it was a joke. And yeah, it's pointless. I mean, everybody knows. I get the same shirt on for like 3 weeks in a row. That's a good indicator that maybe we recorded a bunch of them at the same time.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff people don't notice. Even when I was watching Beer and Backy, and I know y'all would record multiple times.
Yeah,
it's like I know y'all were wearing this, but you never notice that, and I'm sure they don't really. But it's all right.
When you were drinking multiple beers too, that were high in alcohol content, the third show was usually the best.
Absolutes. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I actually saw a show. I'll try to link to it if I remember. There's these guys that did these cigar reviews. Tim and Bradley and Tim cigar reviews, and they worked at this place in Arizona, cigar place online. Anyway, they did these cigar reviews, and they would routinely try and pair beers with the cigars. They were not very good at it, the two of them.
Yeah. But
the one guy now has broken away from the owner of this cigar shop, which I think his name is Bradley. I'm so bad that I don't remember. I think he's got a new YouTube channel, though, called Cigar Daily or Cigars Daily. Anyway, he decided to go out on his own because this guy owned this shop, and so he had no ownership. So he was doing all these social media, making all the videos, doing all this stuff, and he was finally like, dude, I'm just getting paid by the hour here. Maybe I should just go do my own thing. But the whole point of this long drawn out story is
let's get to that.
He went to this guy's cigar shop. It's called Big Sticks in Arizona. And this guy has a bar in the cigar shop. He does wine and draft beers. He tries to do craft beer. And he was pairing some cigars and beers together, and he knew what he was talking about. So it was actually a good show. I'll try to link to it in the description, but any which way. Beers and cigars, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like
that? I used to be a big cigar guy before I got into pipes.
But were you really into like the real deal cigars, or were you just like, oh, I'm smoking a cigar?
No, I would get like good, decent cigars. I wasn't one of the guys who's like, there's nothing better than a Cuban cigar, but those are the people that's like, I don't really think you know much about cigars. Yeah. But I would get into, the Honduran and the Dominican and, Nicaraguan cigars, the good stuff, the good name brands.
Man?
Well, those are the wrappers. I think they only. Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Because they taste good. The Connecticut wrapper tastes good.
So I know a little bit. I don't think I've ever paired. I never got too much into the pairings with cigars too much. It doesn't seem like cigars would go well with beer unless it was like a Belgian.
Yeah, that's one of the ones he actually did in the show. And part of the thing that he did was the way he described how he paired things was, generally speaking, he would go based on, so the first cigar that they did was like a lighter cigar. So he tried to go really extra light on the beer, and he ended up doing a Belgian ale, and it paired really well. And then as the cigars got stronger, the beers got stronger in taste, that is, anyway. So he tried not to take away from the taste of the cigar with the beer, was the whole point. And it seemed like they did a good job.
Yeah, I figure the dark stuff would go with a cigar,
right?
Or coffee. I would figure something like
cigars and coffee have to go together, no doubt.
And I would imagine some wines would go with some cigar.
Nice transition. I like I like how you did that. The whole point was we were talking about this before we started recording. I was like, why are we recording this? So okay, wine, Derek. You consumed wine last night, yes?
I did. I am for the majority of my adulthood, I was proudly not a wine guy.
You're anti-wine.
I mean, even I'm not against it, but I just never liked it. I live in Texas, and Texas has a really large wine growing community,
really?
Or there's like a in the hill country of Texas.
I guess it's so huge, everything can happen in Texas.
They say that the hill country of Texas is the second largest viticultural area, like the second largest
outside of California.
Yeah, it's the second largest in the country. Like, so yeah, Napa Valley's the largest, and then Central Texas is the second largest.
Okay.
So a few years ago, my wife and I went to
now it's just like it's never not going to happen.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I think in the last episode, I remember you going back after you just said my wife. You were like, "Oh, wait a minute, my wife."
Oh yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You and your wife.
We went to Fredericksburg a few years ago, about 5 years ago. Spring break, little vacay.
Woo, spring break.
Yeah, Fredericksburg's a small tourist town in Central Texas. It's a little bit northwest of San Antonio.
Okay.
It's real nice. It's got German heritage, and it's right there in the heart of Texas wine country.
Okay.
So she and we got this idea. We're not wine people. Let's try to get into it.
Okay.
There's tons of wineries, tons of tasting rooms. You go in there, you plop down $10 or $20. They give you a souvenir glass, and they pour you about 4 or 5 wines. You swirl them and you sip them, and then if you like,
them out. You have to spit them out, or you get wasted.
No,
you just drink them. Oh.
We just drink. I mean, we're not getting a lot. I mean, they're just getting a little bit,
Yeah, but that stuff adds up.
Well, when you're doing like one winery and then you
have
taste
dinner or something.
Well, you have a little bit and then you leave. You're going to the next one. It's like an hour or two before you get to the next one. It was fine.
Okay.
It was fine.
Scott, you drank wine together and you didn't spit it out. Go ahead.
We did not spit it out. Yeah, but we went to these. If you like the wine, great. You'll buy a bottle. If not, hey, they got your money. You get a complimentary wine glass. Everybody's happy. Everybody wins.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I went in with the attitude like I've had wine a few times, never liked it. I couldn't get into it. And we would go, my attitude was I want to learn how to enjoy it. I wanted to acquire the taste.
Yeah.
And we couldn't. We really couldn't. I think my wife could only really get into the super sweet ones, like the Rieslings.
Yeah.
Or some of the rosés that were like extra, that had more sweetness than most wines.
Okay.
And I couldn't get into them at all. It was fun. We went to a bunch of wineries. They were beautiful. We met a lot of people. We collected a bunch of wine glasses, and we even found a distiller, like a bourbon distillery, in that area. So that was fun too. But we never got into wine.
I don't remember if you drink the wine and then you drink the spirits. Is it wine and liquor never been sicker? What happens? Did you drink bourbon after you had wine?
Yeah, but it was like later in the day.
Oh, and they got so sick the next day. Ooh.
I didn't get sick, Scott.
Your head hurt so bad.
Small amount. And this is 5 years ago, so I don't even remember.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't remember anything because he was at all these wineries and then drank all sorts of spirits.
Since then, no, I didn't get sick on that trip. Since then,
I like a little asterisk on that trip.
But since then, Scott.
Okay.
Since then, I've gotten more into beer. I've gotten more into whiskey. I've gotten into coffee, and I'm smoking more pipe tobacco.
You like coffee?
It is true. It is true.
I'm sorry. Yes, you do. And man, I like how you're sipping your Diet Mountain Dew out of that glass.
I know.
You can't see it because you're listening. It's so great. It's like the color is just terrible. It's not even, it doesn't even look like Mountain Dew. Do you have a lot of ice in there or something?
Just a little bit.
Okay. It looks funny. It doesn't even look like that, like nuclear waste Mountain Dew. Did I say how do you say? I always say that wrong. Is it I say it like George W. Bush. Nuclear. Is it what? How do you say it?
He says it nuclear.
Nuclear. You know, right? It's nuclear. Yeah. Am I right?
It is nuclear.
Okay,
that's
good.
how you pronounce.
It's like crap. Am I starting like W? Nuclear. What does he say? Nuclear.
Nuclear. Yeah.
Nuclear. All right. Gig. All right.
Okay. So here's the thing. Over the holidays, my wife's sister, my sister-in-law.
Come on, Derek. You're allowed to say it without that.
Okay, Rachel.
Okay.
Yeah, Rachel came down. And she'd been telling me, she's like, Derek, she's really into wine. And she's like, Derek, you need to get on Netflix and you need to watch this documentary. It's called SOM. SOMM. It's about sommeliers. Yeah. She said it's interesting because these are the guys at the restaurants that are the wine experts. They help you pair, your wine with food. And she's like, she said it's interesting, just the amount of study and hard work that these dudes go into. So I watched that one, and I watched, there was like 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? It's time. I'm into beer. I'm into whiskey. I'm into coffee. Yes, I'm into coffee. I'm into pipe tobacco.
Yeah.
I'm into all that stuff. So I figured it's time. Let me try wine again.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Okay.
I did try wine again. I went to the local store and bought a couple of bottles of Texas wine. And
I like that I love that you're loyal to Texas like that, because I don't know a lot of people that are like that in my life. I just had to do this little aside because I love that you're like, I got a Texas wine. You take pride in that. I like that. And when we would talk about beers, you'd be like, there's this Texas beer. And I would be like, I like that you do that. Is there any Texas coffees that you really like? I'm sorry. I won't try to deviate too much because we want to get back to your story.
There's one, my next order for when I get my next round of coffee, there's it's called Summer Moon Coffee, and they roast their coffee in like a wood-fired oven or something.
That sounds awesome.
So I went to the store. I went to one of their coffee shops. They kind of have a bunch of them in the Austin area.
Okay.
It's all right. I wanna see what I can do with that coffee. I want to make some espresso with it. So
I like that. Okay.
So
back to your wine. I'm sorry.
My wine.
By the way, you need to watch, besides that other movie, you need to watch Sideways with Paul Giamatti. Good movie.
Yeah, they keep suggesting that.
It won several awards, by the way. You should watch it. It's good.
Isn't that like, they go through the Napa Valley, and I read that that movie caused wine sales to increase.
Yeah.
Except Merlot, because I guess in the movie
he gets mad about that. Yes.
He says he hates Merlot, and then they said it caused impact in the wine industry, like Merlot sales plummeted.
Funny. That's funny. So. I don't remember if it's Merlot, but if it is, that's funny. It is something about there's a certain type of wine that he says, and I'm not drinking that. He's like, I think he says, you're right, it is. I'm not drinking Merlot. There you go. Yeah. All right, your wine story. Back to your wine story. Sorry.
Well, I went to the local grocery store because that's really where you got to go. Mm-hmm. We had a bunch. They had some Texas wines. There's a winery up in Lubbock called Llano Estacado or Llano Winery. Mm-hmm. I picked up one of their Cabernet Sauvignon. Uh-huh. And then there's another one, I guess. Pedernales Cellars. There's Stonewall, Texas, out near where LBJ used to live. Lyndon Johnson. Yeah. His house.
Are we allowed to like Lyndon Johnson anymore? I mean, I didn't like him in the first place, but I'm sure he did something wrong. Aren't we going to erase him from history somehow? I think he said the N-word.
Yeah, he was kind of like...
he was a little racist, wasn't he?
Well, no, he actually was the one that like got the civil rights going. He kind of pushed a lot of that through. So, but I don't know.
I think he said bad stuff, and we have to pretend he doesn't exist anymore.
Probably.
Okay, go ahead. Wine at the grocery store. Love it.
Yeah, at his place, I got a white wine from Pedernales Cellars.
Okay.
So last night I drank a bottle of the Cabernet.
Just one bottle.
Just one bottle. Okay. I mean, the whole bottle. 750 mLs. Yeah, had the whole thing. Sipped on it for a good portion of the night.
And as long as you didn't slam it.
No, I wouldn't do that, but I did.
You're not a huge gentleman, but you can probably handle a little bit more wine than the average guy.
I mean, I really need to not drink much, much like you're staying positive in the new year. I really need to stay
cut back on your alcohol consumption.
I do need to.
The problem is it's a guaranteed weight gainer.
True.
There's no way that doesn't make you gain weight. It's just it's like if you drink regular pop all the time or soda, for those of you who say soda. The truth is, though, listen, even diet soda, really, how many people that drink diet soda do you see that are skinny? Very few.
Not me.
It's usually chunky people, and they're like, "Yeah, can I have a large Diet Coke, please?" And then they get like the double Big Mac or what? Is there such a thing as a double Big Mac? If not, I just gave McDonald's an idea.
I'm not really a connoisseur of
I think they made like a Super Mac though. It's like an extra big Big Mac. So they use like the quarter-pound burgers on it.
Well, there's a thing where you can get where you can get like a cheeseburger, like a double cheeseburger, and then you buy a McChicken and you stick it in between. You stick the chicken sandwich in between.
Boontard told you that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He calls it the. Can I say? I can say it. We're on the internet. It's called the McGangbang.
That's dirty. Sorry, Mom. All right. Listen, wait.
I didn't invent it.
I know. Let's put a pin in that and come back.
Okay.
And we'll talk a little bit more about wine while you savor your Diet Mountain Dew.
It's an excellent vintage.
What year is it? Can you tell me?
Probably 2017.
Okay. Look on the bottom. Anyway, all right, we'll be right back. Fast, simple, and affordable. That's what registering your domain name with GoDaddy will be. Fast, simple, affordable. And if you listen to this show, Hey, We're Talking, you know you're getting a discount, 30% off if you go to trygodaddy.com/HWT. Again, 30% off. All you have to do is go to trygodaddy.com/HWT for 30% off your domain name and other business services provided by GoDaddy. Hey, we're back. We're talking about wine. Yes, on Hey, we're talking about wine. I wonder what people are going to think when they see this title.
We're so fancy.
We're Renaissance men, really. I mean, we're into just everything. There's nothing that's outside the realm of possibility on Hey, We're Talking.
Well, let me ask you, Scott, do you like wine?
Definitely. I love red wine. Love it.
Where does that rank with you? Like, where would you put like coffee, beer, spirits, wine? Where do you have like a Where does all that fall for you?
I used to really love beer, and then it just seems like the older I get, the more it just kind of messes with my insides. Not like it's not necessarily sick, but I just don't want to be uncouth here, but it gives me kind of gassy. Makes me feel bloated.
I got you.
So, I would say I love coffee, but again, I've pulled back. I'm drinking tea right now. Okay. So I've already talked about this on the show before. I'm going to like 3 to 4 days a week of coffee, and the rest of the days I drink tea. And then, and the problem is this weekend I had, so like Friday I had a bunch of coffee, Saturday I had a bunch of coffee, Sunday I had a bunch of coffee, and then on Monday I had a bunch of coffee. And then I was just like, oh, my gut was just hurting so bad. So I was like, okay, no more coffee for a few days. Love coffee. I would say wine jumped over beer just because of the yucky feeling I get from beer.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do about that. I tried a couple of things, because one of the things I saw was just like how you pour the beer. Rather than drinking it out of the bottle or drinking it out of the can, pour it vigorously so all that CO2 has a chance to escape. Because when you drink it, if you don't do that, you're just drinking all those bubbles, and that's why you get all like, oh. So anyway, and then I'm not a huge spirits guy. I mean, every once in a while, but those things, that's dangerous. People that are just like, oh, I'm going to have some, and they just go, if you don't pace yourself, oh my gosh, danger, danger.
I got you.
Wine's safe, you know?
Yeah.
I like that. You rarely are going to run into a situation where you just, I mean, unless you're trying to.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm just going to have 2 bottles of wine tonight. Then you're probably going to be hurting the next day. Because like they say, red wine, you know, that song.
Uh-huh.
It made him feel so fine, but then, oof.
Oh.
Then he had trouble the next day.
So it sounds to me like you would rank it coffee, wine, beer, liquor.
Yeah.
Or spirits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. So for me, like I had the wine last night, and so you love wine.
I really do love red wine. I don't like white wine, but I've never really experimented with it too much. I just know I've had white wine a couple of times and been like, this is gross. It's not great. And we had some friends in Michigan who had like seriously a wine cellar, and they would just bring up, usually it was red. And so I got used to red, and they had really good red. Oh my gosh. Some of the wines that they had were just like, I shouldn't have been drinking them because they're like really expensive, and I'm not that expensive of a person. I can't get away with that. But they like opened up like $150 bottle of wine for us one night, and I was just like,
wow,
oh my gosh. And they bought like a case of it, dude, like a huge giant box of this stuff, and I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, even in Texas wine country, I still felt like those places were a little bit more fancy, a little bit too fancy for us,
right?
You know, but I did not drink $150 bottle of wine. I drank a $10 bottle of wine.
Well, listen, and here's a little hint for you. Okay, have you ever heard of Gary V? Do you know who he is? Gary Vaynerchuk? No. Okay. Mm-mm. He's like a mover, shaker, New York guy, but like tons of people are into him because he's just like an entrepreneur, and he kicks butt. Well, he started out on YouTube doing a wine show, and I think he still does it. But he was on Hot Ones, the chicken wing eating show, right? And the guy talked to him and said, like, look, most people can't afford the type of wine that you probably think is awesome. And he was like, wait a minute. If you're going to go to the store and you're going to buy a wine from the grocery store, stick in the $13 to $17 range, and you're going to get a great bottle of wine. So he said, if you go down to 10, you're risking it, but you still might find something good. But if you stick in that 13 to 17, you're going to get a good bottle of wine. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I mean, I was contemplating a certain French Beaujolais, but I figured I would get.
I don't even know the names. Like, dude, I just get them if it's got a cool. For me, it's like Cheryl will usually go in and find stuff, and it's all about the artwork. She just grabs stuff. She's like, "Oh, this one looks cool," because she likes to keep the bottles. She thinks like they're art. So we used to have like all these wine bottles, and then we moved. She was like, I guess I should just get rid of these. And I was like, why did you keep them all? But she got rid of them all. So there you go.
Anyway. Well, my experience was this last night. Cracked open I got the thing, the wine opener, and surprisingly, corkscrew. Mm-hmm. The wine opener.
Yeah.
It worked.
It does.
I pulled it out. I pulled out the cork.
That's what she said.
Yeah. I poured some into a wine glass and I let it sit for a bit. And I swirled it around a little bit, try to get some of the aromas
to aerate it a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. And it was good. It was a little spicy, a little fruity.
Oh, okay, a little spice.
A little spicy, not a little fruity, not too sweet.
That's good.
You know what? It had some of the.
You said it was a little dry, though. Yes.
Well, I guess that's what how I would describe. Like it wasn't sour, it wasn't tart. But whenever you get like
kind of like a little bit after you drink it,
it gets the tongue like real puckery,
a little bit,
and a little dry, or kind of, and I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like that. Now the flavor of the wine, it didn't seem too complex.
Okay.
It seemed like pretty simple. It was okay.
Did it describe it on the bottle?
I don't think so. It didn't describe it on the bottle, but it was just your Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a $10 Cabernet, I guess. Whatever that would run.
Next time you get a bottle of wine like that, because everything's on the internet now, look it up and see what the tasting notes are and stuff like that. That's what's fun. It's like when you're drinking a bourbon and you want to get the taste notes on it.
I could probably bring it up. But...
You could. Well, I'm not saying you'd have to do it right now. I'm saying next time you have a bottle, you should it's fun to kind of taste the little bits of stuff in it.
I mean, I think I did. I think they mentioned stuff like cherry, berries, fruits, and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I got. It wasn't bad at all.
Good.
But my tongue feels a little raw. It's kind of that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is it because of the puckeriness of it. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't sour, it wasn't tart at all, but sometimes whenever I eat like the sour tart stuff, it has that effect in my mouth where my tongue feels a little raw. It did that to my tongue. But without all the tartness. So I don't know if
did you do something after you drank the whole bottle and forgot about it?
No.
Like you did something to your tongue on accident?
No, I mean, it was like that kind of from
poker in there or something?
No, it was kind of like that from the outset.
Okay. You weren't smoking a pipe and like a little bit of hot ash threw back on your tongue?
No.
Okay.
No, I was...
Because you did drink a whole bottle.
I mean, I took it slow. I was watching Netflix.
What were you watching?
Oh, man, I was watching... Peaky Blinders.
I can't get into it. I tried to watch the first episode. I can't do it.
Give it 3 or 4 episodes, and
it's slow moving though. In the beginning, it's so slow.
It picks up, and I agree with you. I do agree with you that the first 1 or 2 episodes kind of is like it's okay, but it's not grabbing me.
I wanted it to be awesome, and my wife was like, "Hey, let's watch it," and she's into that slow moving British crap. So I just got to the point where I was like, oh, my gosh. And I looked over at her and she was like, yeah, I'm done. And that we had already gone like 45 minutes into it. Okay, go ahead. What else?
I started The Punisher.
And?
I like it. I've seen 2 episodes so far. Yeah. And The End of the Effing World.
I was like, I watched the trailer for it and I was like, I don't get this. I'm not interested. So I didn't watch it. We did start watching Shooter last night. You seen that?
I've seen the movie. I haven't seen the show.
It's it's a USA Network show. We should do an episode about this actually. But I'll just say this. At first, I was just kind of like, oh boy, and then I got a little more interested. So I think we watched like 3 episodes, but it pales in comparison to Ozark, because we watched Ozark, and they were like, what do we want to watch next? And I'm like, starting to watch something, and I go, geez, talk about not as good as Ozark.
Have you seen Mindhunter?
No.
You need to watch that.
What's it about? Because I don't. If it's like horror, I can't watch it with Cheryl.
No. Do we need to like move this to another episode?
We do. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to wrap this up by saying this. We've been neglecting to do this, so I want to do it. Go check out our Facebook page. Hey, we're talking. That's all you have to do. Just type in "Hey, we're talking." Like the Facebook page. By the way, we do now have over 100 people click the little button. So we're gonna give away that T-shirt. I haven't forgotten. I've talked to Bob about it, and I was like, hey, are you going to do it? And he was like, hey, are you going to do it? And we didn't ask Derek, hey, are you going to do it? And Derek's going to be like, no, I'll let you guys do that. So we're going to give away a T-shirt for the show. But go to Hey, We're Talking on Facebook. Like the page. Hang out there. You can watch the videos there as well. And the other thing I was going to say is go to YouTube. Do the same thing. Just subscribe to us. And I don't know how this works or whatever, but for some reason, every single YouTuber I see is like, make sure you click the little ringy dingy on the right. I don't know if it does something special. All it does is just tell you when our YouTube video comes out. So do whatever you want. We don't care. And other than that, if you want to reach us, hey, we're talking at gmail.com. We are on pretty much almost every podcast app out there. So if you just look for our show, Hey, We're Talking, you're in like Flynn. You're part of the Hey, We're Talking family. You are now in the know. So do that stuff for us if you get a chance. We are going to really seriously only take like a quick break here, but you won't hear us again until like 2 days from now. But we're still going to just do another show about Netflix shows in a minute.
Also, we're on Coyote Country Radio and Bloodstream Radio.
Radio Bloodstream.
I really need to listen to them because I love metal.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna see you in 2 days.
Oh,
but not really. What?
Yeah. Oh, final thoughts about wine. My decision. Like I came to a decision about wine. I still like coffee the best. I think I like beer. I think I like the spirits then I like the wine. And I think I'm not gonna buy much wine, but if we go back to the hill country of Texas, I would like to go back to some of these tasting rooms. I'd like to go back to the tasting rooms and try wines. I think maybe I'll be able to hone my tastes in that way.
I agree. And it'll make you feel like you're a responsible adult because you're drinking wine.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching, or both, whatever you did. We'll see you next time.
On Hey, We're Talking. I didn't know I had to say that because you did a perfect face right there.